last year was one of the worst flu seasons in the U.S. since the 70s. The CDC estimates 80,000 people died from influenza. Here at home, the flu is already going around. Fresno County actually saw some of its first cases back in October. If you haven't gotten your flu shot yet, it's not too late, but you should get it soon. Here's more on the benefits of getting vaccinated.
There's always an element of uncertainty when it comes to predicting the current influenza season. So it can be tough for us to say, although I think certainly it should serve as a warning for any years in the future that this can be a very deadly disease. The flu shot is really your best first line of protection against influenza. It's an annual vaccine rather than one that's given every few years or in life, as with some others. And the reason for that is because this is a virus that mutates, and we see prevalent or predominant strains that are different every year. Even though the vaccine may have slightly lower effectiveness overall, even if you were to get the flu after having an influenza vaccination, it's much more likely that you're going to have a form of that illness that is less severe, less likely to put you in the hospital, less likely to make you miss work or school. And those are really the important things. And then, of course, in addition, less likely to kill you. That's obviously the most avoidable part of this. The big importance for the flu vaccine, recommendations from the CDC state that every person 6 months of age and older receive that vaccine. It's particularly important for individuals who have chronic health conditions or maybe immunosuppressed for other reasons. There are always those in the community who cannot receive an influenza vaccine. Some examples of that might include people currently on chemotherapy, children under the age of 6 months. And for those people, they have to rely on the rest of us to protect them from that disease. So I always encourage others, even who say, I'm healthy, I'm not sure it's for me. It's not just for you, it's for your community, and it's something that we can all do together to make everyone a little bit healthier. When people talk about side effects of the influenza vaccine, I like to say that yes, there can be some achiness, low-grade fevers, pain under the injection site, but what it cannot do is give you the flu. And I think that's very important for people to know. And typically those side effects that they experience, whether that be a little bit of achiness, some body aches, are much better than undergoing an entire influenza infection, which if you've had the flu, you know it's really not pleasant. We know that it takes 2 weeks to build full immunity from the time of receiving the vaccine to building up those antibody levels in your blood. So there is a 2-week period there where you could still be susceptible. Most of the deaths that occur from influenza unfortunately occur in the extremes of age. Those would be the very young and the very old. However, otherwise healthy adults can still both catch influenza and, of course, potentially die from influenza. So that's something we really don't like to see and want to avoid. You have to think about this concept of herd immunity, and we like to think that by giving people these vaccinations and having good coverage in the community, an outbreak can be smaller, can be less severe, and less likely to kill various members of our community.
You can get a flu shot from several different places: your primary care physician's office, various clinics, or even your local pharmacy.